just an update. So I'm not quite sure what I'm gonna do. Isn't that typical? It's just normal, right? Um, so I already called the electric company to have to make sure the electric in this apartment is shut off by the end of the month. But now I've been going back and forth now between this one and the new one, setting things up and whatever. But I don't know what I'm gonna do about the phone because so at the nursing home I already told them, and I've told them it's my mobile phone because I'm not gonna have access to the home phone for much longer. It's gonna be shut off. It's my mom's phone. And yet a few days ago there was a message from the nursing home on the home phone. So again, I went in and I explained to them. I said, "Look, why do you guys have my mobile number?" And I know they have it because they've called me on my mobile number before. And there was a group of people there, and they look kind of bothered that I'm bothering them again. And they said, "Well, yes, we have your mobile phone." And I tried to explain, well, someone called on the home phone, and we're not going to have that for much longer. And they just, kind of talked over me and said, "Well, we have the mobile phone," and on and on and on. So it's like, fine, whatever. But the problem is things don't get done. You can tell a room full of people something, and the next week it's as if you hadn't said anything. So, I'm worried, like, what happens if there's an emergency and they call the wrong number, right? And we don't have this line anymore. So what I'm thinking of doing is just changing her home phone over to a cell phone, to her cell phone. And because she never used, she loved her old cell phone, but she didn't use it much to talk. I mean, she would use the home phone or she would use my cell phone to talk. So I'm thinking of just having that phone, the home phone connected, I'm switching the home phone number to that cell phone for her, and I'm just going to keep it that way. So if they do in the future call on the landline, the home phone, I'll access the call, right? I'll have access. You can't count on anybody, and you can't, it doesn't matter what people say. Oh yeah, this is done, we're done. But then next week you realize it's not done. Kind of like how in the billing office they forgot to bill the insurance company, so now there's the $5,000 bill, $5,400, right? And I'm assuming that's what happened. I can't even talk to the insurance people yet because the power of attorney didn't go through yet, because now the people at the insurance company are asking for a different power of attorney. I sent them the power of attorney papers that my mom had, but apparently those aren't good enough. Now they're asking for different papers, which she can't sign. So and I'm wondering if the insurance company does that on purpose, because if someone can't speak to them on another person's behalf, well, they don't have to pay out, do they? Because the people who were supposed to bill them didn't, right? Or probably didn't. They probably didn't. And they're not going to. So I don't, and that was their job, not mine. It's not my job to call and do that. It would have been my job, like if they had been billed and they refused to pay, then that would have been my responsibility, right? But to initially bill them, that's not my responsibility. Either way, I can't do anything about it, and that's the problem. I have all of the and I was telling this to a friend of mine too. This is what it's like to have all of the responsibilities on you, but to have no power or authority to actually back that up. Like if people won't do their job, I don't have the authority to do it for them. I can't just go into the system and do it for them, right? You get arrested. This is what it's like when nobody will work with you, and they know that you don't have any power, so they don't care because they don't think anything will happen, right? And then today, my mom was really out of it again. I had complained about this a while ago, and then it seemed to have stopped. Like but now it's happening again. And so I asked the guy again, the nurse, the doctor, whatever, I said, is she okay because she's out of it? And he said, oh yeah, it's the medication. And I said, well, is she on medication to put her to sleep? And he said, oh no, it's the medication. What? Yes or no? Yes, no, it's the medication. And then he started saying, oh, it's the medication she's on. And he was talking about like the nebulizer and other breathing medication. And I said, but my question was, is she being given something to knock her out? And he said, oh, the medication can make her drowsy. But he didn't say specifically that he's giving something that specifically is for the purpose of making them drowsy or making them go to sleep. And Instead, he referred to other medication that she'd been on, but that has not, again, before she came to this floor, this unit, it didn't make her drowsy, right? It didn't make her drowsy. Um, then he said, it's like I told you last time, it was this, but the last time he said he tried to blame it on the feeding tube, saying, oh, well, that can make them tired, right? It can take their energy. But she had been on the rehabilitation floor for a long time, and the feeding tube never made her that drowsy. We're talking to the point where she can barely wake up, can barely open her eyes, occasionally opens her eyes and then starts crying because she doesn't feel well. She doesn't know what's wrong. Whatever it is, she doesn't like it. He won't directly admit that he's giving her like medication to make her sleepy or to, a sedative. That's what I was thinking of, tranquilizing. Sedative. He won't admit to that, but at the same time, he didn't deny it. Like he'll say, "Oh yeah, I'm giving her medication and it'll make her sleepy," but then he'll refer to another medication she's on that isn't a sedative. He'll say, "Well, that's just a side effect," even though she's not had that side effect from the medication on the other floor. So you can't get a straight answer. And the thing is, he's a nice guy, but you can't get a straight answer. And I didn't approve sedatives for her. I don't know. I'm just exhausted, and I hate not having the ability to help her, to protect her, to do anything really. Like, I mean, all of this legal work and it's all on me, but I don't have the power. I don't have the authority to do anything. Meanwhile, the people who actually have power, they're not going to do it. I have all the responsibilities, but without the power or authority to properly take care of them. And then the people with all of the power and authority, well, they don't have responsibilities. Or if they do, they just brush them off onto other people. They have other people do it for them. This is a shitty system that we live in.